JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 11th of February 2021. So yep, sorry, 2021, 2022, there we go. Stuck in the past. So yeah guys, welcome to this Friday's morning session. Where we're going to have a quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump into the charts, as always, a quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD Bank website. And if you click here on the top, it'll take you to our page, the JFD research page, which is updated on a daily basis. So yep, check us out here on jfdbank.com, and yep, click on the research tab right there on the top. So now then, jumping into the charts, guys. So it's not the usual Nikkei 225 that I pick up on, but now it's the Shanghai Composite. So the index is trading. Well, it traded higher, but found resistance near this downside line. I talked about this one, and basically, well, I would say it's a good test, a good hit, and then now, I mean, let's see if we can actually, drift lower from here. However, as I've mentioned before, I don't really like these scenarios, and we are still above, let's say, a kind of key significant support zone marked by the lowest point of November, and we are also below this downside line. So in other words, we're stuck here, we're stuck in between these two lines. So it's best of all probably to wait for next week to see if we can get a break through one of those lines, because at the moment, I mean, yes, we drifted lower, however we managed to kind of stay in positive territory for the week, but below that downside line. So of course, although there was some positivity, we saw some positivity kicking in, however it wasn't enough to even break this downside line. So that's why the downside scenario is still not off the table. Hong Kong's Hung-Seng index here, yes, we pushed higher, but then we drifted back down. Today we traded in a negative territory, but above the 100-day EMA. So in other words, also, we are stuck. We are not really, we're not really kind of doing much, I would say. I mean, there was an attempt yesterday to overcome this 24,982 barrier, the also the 25,000 mark, the psychological 25,000 mark. We did overcome that, but as you can see, it quickly kind of reversed back down and drifted lower. Now, I'm not saying that this is, this is looking quite bearish, no, because we're still above the 100-day EMA, the 21-day EMA, so there is still a chance for this one to push higher. The only thing is, what we need is a nice good push, a nice good push higher, a nice good push again above this 24,982 zone, or even this, or even the psychological 25,000 mark. So keep that in mind. Now, jumping into DAX, looking at this picture here, it's guys, I hope you can hear me well, because it seems that my system is telling me that I am struggling with the connection here, but hopefully all is running well. Okay, so let's come back to the charts, and basically with the German index DAX, yes, we did pop higher initially, and we climbed above this hurdle, this 15,537 zone. But if you remember yesterday, I said to you that wait, for me, the more important level for the upside is this one right here, the 15,728, because although I do understand that it's quite kind of far, you know, from, or we could be missing out on a bit of territory. Still, I would prefer to see a push above this barrier in order to go for some higher levels. The reason why I was saying that, because I said that if we pop above the 15,537 zone, then yes, of course, we could go for a few higher levels here, but we will have a bunch of obstacles on the way higher. So, for example, like the 100-day EMA, which did provide good, strong resistance. Excuse me. So, what's next? Basically, if we take a look at the cash index, we'll see that the price is currently trading at around 15,355 zone. So, yep, it's below this downside line, and if I'm not mistaken, yep, below the 200-day EMA, guys. So, that's not really looking well here. However, we're not going to rush into anything. Another thing that I probably need to redraw here is, first of all, this downside line no longer needed and no longer is kind of relevant. What's going to be a little bit more relevant is this right here. Let me just put this on the chart. So there we go. So this right here, and it seems that we are starting to coil up here a little bit. We drifted lower. I mean, we drifted below that 200-day EMA, so everything's kind of, you know, kind of leaning a little bit more towards the downside right now. However, let's not rush into anything. Of course, in general, everything what's shaping up here is quite negative, I would say, because although we are on the broader kind of picture here, we are within the range here. But as I mentioned several times already to you guys, that we, on one hand, we do have this double top and also we have a possible kind of complex head and shoulders pattern here. And another thing right now, which is kind of pointing a little bit more towards the downside, is the fact that we are starting to coil up here. We're starting to form this triangle pattern. Before entering this, let's say, before starting this triangle, this kind of coiling up pattern, sorry, not pattern, but before starting coiling up, before starting the triangle pattern, the prevailing trend was to the downside. So if we look at the TA rules, these kind of situations, we do kind of see this as a temporary pause before a continuation move in the direction of the prevailing trend. So that means that, well, basically this could fall off the cliff later on. However, again, that's why I was saying before, and I'll say it again, I'm still waiting for a drop somewhere below this psychological 15,000 mark, and then I will go for some lower levels, because all this still, I mean, this still could play out as a nice range, guys. I mean, and yeah. And you know, a lot of traders might get caught out, so don't rush into anything. From the shorter term perspective, from the very short term perspective, I would say as long as it stays today below that 200-day EMA, we could continue aiming a bit to the downside. Now jumping into Nasdaq 100. So looking at this picture here, we can see that yesterday the index initially tried to push higher. It had a good attempt to push north. However, it failed to overcome the current highest point of this week near the 15,058 level, approximately around there. And as you can see, it drifted back down. However, what I said before as well, that wait and keep your eyes on this upside line taken from the low the 24th of January, which could provide some support. Well, and it did so, and well, now what's next? Basically, the cash index is currently trading at around 14,610 zone, so that means that we are somewhere around here. We're below this upside line. They'll kind of another good chance here, another good possibility for the bears to step in would be somewhere on a break of this area, the not really specifically a level, but an area around the 14,471 hurdle. Now, in terms of the upside. Now, what I would prefer here is, of course, to look at something like this. So I would like to see a break of this downside line and a push above the 15,058 zone. Then, yes, we could start looking at some higher levels. in terms of, like I said, the downside, yes, if as long as we trade below this upside line, I'll aim for lower levels, but I'll get even more comfortable with the downside if we drop somewhere below that 14,471 zone. In general, what happened yesterday with the markets here? So let me just quick stock heat map here. So in general, yesterday we saw kind of all equities, turning red. The majority of the equities turning red. Disney here, for example, was the in the kind of the spotlight here. We had this one, Micron Technology as well. Kind of the few point jumping out here, kind of in positive territory, but overall the market was in red. The worst performing sector was technology, guys, and then technology followed by utilities and real estate. So yeah, a bit of a roller coaster ride right now for technology. So yeah, let's see how today's day is going to play out. But again, the way everything's shaping up right now, I would say there is a bit of a chance for this one to drift lower. However, more sellers could join in if we drop below that 14,471 zone right there. Now jumping into Dow Jones Industrial Average. Now Dow Jones also drifted lower. However, as you can see here, that's why I'm not really losing my optimism yet, because some indices are showing kind of negative patterns. Some other ones are showing some positive ones. So in a way, looking at this picture here for Dow Jones Industrial Average, in order to go for some higher levels, well, I would actually like to see this one jumping back above this 35,662 territory. But to be honest, now looking at this picture, it kind of violated a few times today, this week, this level. So most probably the better option right now is to keep an eye on the current highest point of February, or I would say this week as well, and then kind of go for some higher levels. The cash index currently is trading at around 35,132.33 zone. So basically we are kind of around here somewhere, and to be honest, I think this downside line, I need to get rid of it. It's no longer valid. It's no longer kind of showing the clear picture. But what I can do is I can recycle it. Always recycle, guys. Yeah, I'm gonna keep an eye on this steep upside line, which of course, as you can see, has been broken already. So maybe even this one is not gonna be valid anymore. So that, I think this is where I'm leaning to, that this is where I need to get rid of the line. Now, in terms of the downside, now what we need to see here and what we need to look at, I would say, keep your eyes for now at this 35,000 mark, roughly around there, guys. If we do drop below it, then well, we could see this one drifting maybe further south, maybe towards that 200-day EMA. However, I do have this obstacle here, the 34,815, which could be quite a good area of support. So don't get too pessimistic. Let's say if we do drop below that 35,000 mark, yes, we could drift a little bit lower, but we could also test this hurdle, this 35,815, which may provide a bit of support. And also, of course, this is me getting ahead of myself. Let's see how this is going to play out. Even if we drift lower here, and if we end up traveling all the way towards this 200-day EMA, but then we rebound from it and then move back up, then what we might see here is a possible kind of broadening triangle pattern here. Basically something maybe like this. Again, this is me trying to get predict the future here again, but yeah, guys. So like I said, we haven't seen this forming for quite a while anywhere. So yeah, let's see if this is going to play out or not. I'm quite curious, but for that, basically for such a scenario to work out, I would need to see, first of all, a drop somewhere below that 35,000 mark, and then a rebound from the 200-day EMA. DXY dollar index, boom, there we go. Good good positive activity yesterday. Initially we fell down here, we tested these upside lines, and from here we rebounded from that 100-day EMA and pushed higher and overcame the 23.6% retracement on the Fibonacci. There we go. Great news. That's good here. And what I said before, that if we do overcome this barrier, then my next target is the 38.2% retracement on the Fibonacci here, which we managed to reach as well, and it's currently acting also as a nice area of resistance. So in a way, in general, everything's looking quite nice here, quite I wouldn't say positive, somewhat positive, because still for me I would prefer to maybe get a pop above this 96.24 level, somewhere around here, in order to maybe go for some higher levels. But in general, the fact that we have rebounded from these two upside lines, that of course paints a bit of a more positive picture. However, of course, we as always we have to take everything with a pinch of salt here, and we have to kind of keep an eye on everything here. So for example, if it does travel a little bit higher and does, let's say, retrace the 50%, the whole 50%, then the big question here is, can we see a reversal back down? So, but for now, I'm leaning a little bit more towards the upside. I'm leaning towards that 50% retracement on the Fibonacci near the 96.24, and then we'll take it from there. Gold did not like the stronger dollar yesterday, and that's what happened. So in general, what I was talking about previously in the beginning of this week, throughout this whole week, they said that if in the beginning of this week I said that if we pop above that 1811 zone, then my next target is the 1830. We managed to overcome that. Yesterday I said that if we stay above the 1831, 30 zone, somewhere around here, then I'll continue aiming higher. But as you can see, we failed to stay above it, and instead we had a drop lower and we fell below that 1829 zone, which means that basically now we could see maybe a bit of a larger correction here to the downside. Of course, the DXY starts to pick up the pace here to the upside. So in a way, this could work out nicely with gold as well, drifting towards that 21-day EMA. This is going to be my target for now, from the very short-term perspective. Let's see how this is going to play out. But again, for now, I'm leaning a little bit more towards the downside, towards that 21-day EMA initially. Now jumping into WTI oil very quickly here. Good activity, very interesting activity. Yeah, we stayed again below this upside line, or not again, but we drifted again below that upside line, and this time we stayed below this upside line. What's forming right now, it's very bearish. However, this bearishness will get confirmed if we do see a good drop below this 88.82 zone right here. If we do that, then my next target is the 21-day EMA together with the 86.58 level, which I've yesterday redrawn because I had something else here somewhere around here. But I removed this one. I put this level. That's the lowest point of February, the current lowest point of February. Bitcoin very quickly on this one. So everything's working out nicely. I talked about this. I said that yes, my next target is going to be somewhere around here. Maybe this 100-day EMA, maybe the 200-day EMA. We did not reach the 200. We reached the 100-day EMA, and we look at this as well. We got a nice little hold up here and there. This 44,445 level. Now, what I was saying previously, that basically with all the cryptos in general, I mean Bitcoin, Ethereum, we got a good run. So yes, I mean we've tested some key resistance levels. Now we're seeing a bit of a retracement, which is quite healthy. And if, let's say, even if it drifts a little bit lower, but stays somewhere above this upside line here, then yes, I will kind of consider this maybe still as a positive, and we could see a nice curve to the upside. Now, if you're a little bit on the cautious side, we can wait for a push above this 44,445 level, just to be a little bit more on the safe side in case, for example, this drifts lower and then breaks this upside line. I mean, that could happen as well, guys. But of course, we'll adjust then accordingly. So probably the safer option is to wait for at least a pop above this barrier. So again, long story short, for now, that's the game plan. Let's see if it's going to work out or not. AUD USD. So, of course, yeah, AUD is the weakest one right now among the top 8 currencies. It's currently the weakest one, together with New Zealand dollar. US dollar is currently the strongest one, so yeah, that's what we're seeing right now. We are seeing this effect here, AUD USD drifting nicely to the downside, and basically when I covered this one, I said that if we do stay above this downside line, then yes, we will go higher. We did go higher, we did everything in one day basically here, and we reached my target, and then the same day we reversed back down. Well, look at this. I mean, I'm quite happy with this. Yesterday, like I said, when I was looking at this one, I was kind of aiming for this 0.722930 zone, which is around that 100-day EMA. We managed to reach it. But like I said, everything happened in one day, so you have to be prepared for these guys. I mean, it's not always kind of, it doesn't always go slowly and, as we want it to go. But we captured this, great, and then it fell off the cliff. It fell off the cliff and fell back below this downside line. And, well, so far, we're seeing the effects here. We're seeing that it continues to drift lower. Now, keeping an eye on this hurdle, this is quite a strong area of support. This is 0.71 level. If we do drop and stay below it, then yeah, I'll continue targeting lower levels. Aud Jpy. Now, this one still has some, and this is where I was saying that, when I was talking about indices, I was saying that be careful, because, some indices are still kind of somewhat positive, or could be, could still be positive. Some indices maybe a little bit are more on the negative side, so it's a bit of a mix right now, and it's not really clear what's going to happen further. So for now, I mean, even you can see that also by the Aud Jpy, which is a good risk monitor. And here, for example, yes, we drifted higher yesterday. Boom, great, great move here. But then we quickly reversed back down, and we're now seeing this one drifting lower. To be honest, yes, it could still drift a little bit more to the downside. We have these two EMAs, or actually three EMAs. But the first one is the 100-day EMA. I think it could easily get touched. But then the question is, can we rebound from this, upside line taken from the low of the 28th of January? Now, that's going to be quite an interesting one to watch. If we can, then yes, we will go for some higher levels again. But if we cannot, well, that's where it's going to become very interesting for a few more sellers, guys. I mean, so keep that in mind. Keep your eyes on the equity world, how that's going to perform, and then we'll take it from there. For now, I'm leaning towards the downside here, but only towards this upside line, towards that 100-day EMA, which is roughly around that 82.28 zone. If we rebound from here somewhere, then yes, a nice good pop back up could be possible. Okay, now I need to jump into these, more exotic pairs. I just wanted to quickly mention this. Yesterday I talked about USD South African Rand, and then the next one is the US dollar against the Russian ruble, which I've mentioned in the beginning of this week, guys. I mean, this is just great. So US dollar against the South African Rand. Yesterday when I picked up on this one, I said to you that keep your eyes on this upside line. We could get a nice break of it. If we do and we drop further and stay below that 15.0630 zone, then yes, further declines could be possible. We did drop below it. Initially, everything looked like it's going to stay here, but as you can see, it drifted quickly to the upside. Now, basically, at the moment right now here, what we're going to do here is we're going to keep an eye on this upside line, on the 200-day EMA, because if the pair suddenly reverses back up here and stays above this 200-day EMA, then yep, maybe we're not really done here with the upside. We could see a move up, a nice good push higher, and also if DXY starts popping nicely to the upside, then certainly it could drag this one higher. But if the South African Rand is going to be somehow a little bit more on the stronger side, then well, still keep your eyes on that 15.0630 zone. If we do drop below this, then if we do drop below this hurdle, which is the lowest point of January, then yes, I'll aim for the downside. US dollar against the Russian ruble, guys. Now here, very, 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 very technical. If you remember, I have drawn this picture here in the beginning of this week. I said that yes, if we break this, lower side of the rising channel and we fall below this hurdle, somewhere below this 75.55 zone, then we'll drift lower. And my next target is around here, this 74.27 level, which we have managed to perfectly test. And look at this, and then what I said that because I'm kind of getting ahead of myself a little bit here, I said that if we do rebound from this, we could see a nice good push higher, maybe even all the way back to this lower side of the rising channel. And if it holds, another decline could be possible. I'm going to keep this for now because it's going to be very interesting to see if it's going to work out or not, because will this become eventually a head and shoulders pattern? Again, time will tell, but at the moment everything's really kind of working out nicely. Like I said, if we don't really drive all the way higher here towards maybe some of these levels, then yep, we'll keep an eye on this 74.27 level. If it gets broken earlier, then yes, certainly no head and shoulders here. Is just a straightforward move to the downside. Quick update on USD Cad. Not going to spend too much time on this one, but it basically, look at this. I mean, this is working out nicely. This 1.2650 zone. Still keeping an eye on that one for the downside, and for the upside, I need to see a break of this downside line taken from the high of the 20th of December. To be honest, pretty straightforward, guys. Yeah, let's see if we can, pop higher. And with the USD Cad, basically, if DXY continues to rally and oil suddenly falls off the cliff, then yep, that's a good example here of this pair moving nicely to the upside. USD CHF also driven nicely by the stronger dollar, and yep, we have climbed back above this hurdle, this 0.9275 zones. If we stay above it, I'll continue aiming higher. Pretty straightforward, guys. If it falls below it, this is where I need a little bit of a neutral zone here. I need to reevaluate things again here and see, what I can do. For the downside, I would like to see maybe a drop below this upside line, and then aim for lower levels. GBP USD, also quick update here. We're resting on these EMAs here. We're near this downside line. Yesterday we had a nice pop. We had a pop above that pop above that 1.3628 zone. So everything was kind of pointing towards the upside. But as you can see, the dollar got stronger and pushed the pair back down here. We need, for the upside, still the same level. I need 1.3628 zone. I need to see a nice good strong move above it in order to go for some higher levels. For the downside, I would like to see a break of this upside line here taken from the low of the 20th of December, and then yes, we could go to the downside. All this area for me here is neutral. GBP CHF. Now this is a little bit more interesting because basically GBP USD looks a little bit more negative just because of the stronger dollar, but the other currencies are not very strong. So the GBP is kind of a little bit on the stronger side here, and today we do have some data, or I think we already got data. Yep, we got the GDP figures, guys. I mean, so preliminary ones, of course, some of them came out better, some of them, yeah, on the worst side. So overall, still kind of not bad, I would say. So I mean, we could see maybe GBP strengthening a little bit. However, I would still need to see a break of this downside line before I could get a little bit more comfortable with the upside, and also a push above the 1.2609 zone could do the trick for a few more buyers. Now Euro GBP, I don't look at this one very often, but again, it seems to be flagging out here. We could see the drift lower. We could see a test of the 21-day EMA, and this is where I'm gonna be very careful. If it does rebound from somewhere around here, maybe yeah, we could see this nice good move here to the upside. So keep that in mind. And finally, Euro USD drifting lower, falling below that 23.6% retracement on the Fibonacci. Now I'm currently aiming for that 21-day EMA together with the 38.2% retracement on the Fibonacci, which is roughly around that, let me just look, 1.1345 zone, approximately around there. And that's going to be my next target. If we do rebound from here, then also we might see a nice little bullish flag here maybe forming, and then yeah, we'll just take it from there, guys. So that's it for this session. I really hope you found it useful, guys. Thank you very much for watching and listening, and thank you very much for kind of watching all my videos throughout this whole week and in general. I hope you find my videos useful. Thank you very much for that, guys. I really appreciate you joining in. So I hope you have a fantastic trading day. Don't forget, it's Friday. Don't overtrade. Have your stop loss in place, and if something's not working out well, leave it. There's always next week, guys. So have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you on Monday. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.